Hey there, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. It's May the 1st. We're deep into spring. Let's go look around and have a garden tour, see what's going on. We'll begin our tour over here on my little 2x6 raised bed. I've got garlic going in, and it's looking like the garlic is almost ready to harvest, but it's not quite there yet. We got to wait till that garlic falls down. Check this out. I got bees all up in my dill. The dill is blooming like crazy, and I'm really loving these blooms. I planted this borage right here in this bed last year. It's self-seeded outside of the bed, and I just let it grow. You can see I've had to cut it back already, and you can see where it once grew. It covered the grass and shaded out the grass. That was a huge plant, but it's got all these wonderful blossoms on it, and these blossoms really attract the bees, so that's been a benefit. Borage can be used as a medicinal herb or a salad herb. It has a flavor of cucumber, and I don't like cucumbers, so I just keep it here as a pollinator attractor. But man, look at that dill. That's so beautiful. There's been bees all over this. In fact, there's one there. Look at that guy. Well, beautiful. Here are my sweet potato slips that I showed you in my last video. We got some spuds down in that soil. I'm going to grow them up to be slips so that we can harvest them for our summer garden. Yeah, all my potted plants are doing great. Got some citrus there. Got some citrus here. This one has fruit on it. You can see that we've got some nice little young fruits growing up. These will ripen through the summer and be available probably in the late fall, early winter. Citrus is usually a winter ripening variety. So that makes me happy. That tree will have some fruit. That's a sanguinelli blood orange. This over here, this curved one here, is a mandarin. And I had tons of fruit last year, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get any fruit this year. And I'm not sure why. The citrus is like that. Muscadines, they're coming in looking great. After the severe corrective pruning we had, these muscadines are putting on a lot of growth. And they're actually putting on a lot of future fruit. All of these little guys right here, that's fruit. That's fruit. Yeah, that's encouraging. Going to be a heavy fruit production year again, and that makes me happy. Let's see, where's that one I can show you? There it is right here. That's future fruit. Herb garden is still doing fine. This marjoram is putting on blossoms. It still smells really good, but there's a lot of it there. I've got some onions going to seed. I'm going to need to get a paper bag and put it around this seed head, shake those seeds out of there, and I will have spring onions for next year. These could just reseed themselves if I let them. I've got plenty of seed coming in. I've got some more up here. This was a good variety for me. I really like that. And of course, the rosemary, tons of it. You can't go wrong with rosemary. I mean, just smell it. Back there I've got some marjoram, oregano. That's the marjoram, that's the oregano. This is the thyme. And this right here is ginger. My neighbor gave me a ginger root, and it's growing quite well. The fig trees, looking great. I did not prune them this year because last year I wanted to see how much they could recover from the freeze. So they didn't get pruned because they were stunted. This year I'll let them grow, and we'll see what kind of pruning we need to do come next fall. Looking great. Real gardening, folks. We've got some determinate tomatoes looking okay in these pots, but the peppers right next door, they're not looking okay. And I'm not entirely sure why. The soil must be rather depleted, though I've been fertilizing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Same thing with this guy here. Completely yellow, looking anemic, looking terrible. So that soil in there must not be very good at all, despite my efforts. But here in the garden bed, I've got some squash. Check it out. We have some squash putting on some fruit. This is a spherical gray squash, a round squash, and it's a pretty plant. Isn't that a pretty plant? So far, though I've heard reports in my area that the vine borers are out en masse, I have not seen a vine borer yet, which is encouraging. I might get fruit from that plant before the vine borers show up. Alright, my tomatoes are in a state of disarray. I have not pruned them. I'm basically just letting them grow in this cage. They're putting on some fruit. That's fine. I'm going to let these just kind of grow as they want. These tomatoes here are healthy, and I will keep them. Well, I'll have to come in and clean them up to clear out this interior here. Otherwise, we're going to get all kinds of dead leaves in there, and that starts to cause your plant to be compromised and available for diseases to set in. So these tomatoes need to be pruned up. Here's my single seed challenge. Again, it's looking kind of anemic. I fertilized it the other day, starting to put on fruit. But look at that. Who wants a pepper that looks like that? We have had trouble with our potted peppers this year. I think it's the soil I'm using. I think I did not sufficiently amend the soil with compost. So my single seed challenge, kind of sad. We'll see if it perks up with the fertilizer I gave it the other day. All right, my cucumbers starting to come up here. Gonna have to trellis these. It's a little late for these. I should have had these going earlier, but it stayed cool so long that the seeds didn't want to germinate until it warmed up. So these are pickling cucumbers, and once we get these up a trellis, we'll be into some cucumbers relatively quickly. The plan is, since this is a quick crop and these cucumbers will be done by July, we'll put in some sweet potatoes here, I think. That's the plan. In bed number 2, I've got my rattlesnake pole beans. And I had a comment that said I spaced them a little too close, these rows. They're going to fill in and choke each other out. That's probably true. I could have spaced them a little more. I've got some space over there. I should have spread them out more. But hey, I've grown beans this close together in the past, and the sun literally passes this way. So my hope was that all these plants would get sufficient sun. But if they bush out and start choking each other out, they're a quick enough crop where it doesn't really matter. I'll get a harvest or 2 or 3 off of these, and then we can put in summer crops in this spot come July or August. And I'm thinking okra right here. We'll see. Now, compared to my peppers in pots, the ones that are in the ground are actually really, really healthy. Look at that cayenne pepper. All those fruits on there. That's a ton of fruit. This is the red flame cayenne. It's an F1 hybrid from Johnny Seed, and it produces really heavily. But the health of these pepper plants is really impressive. They're doing great. They're deep green. Not a lot of pest pressure yet, but it's coming. And they're all beginning to fruit. They're all beginning to put on some little chilies or peppers, whichever you want to call them. So yeah, I'm happy about these peppers. Look at that. Look at that. That's a cayenne pepper plant with tons of fruit on it. Right here I've got my beets starting to bulk up a bit. They need to bulk up because if it heats up too much, they will refuse to bulk up. I've got a couple of roots down in there. You can eat these greens. I don't necessarily like them, but I guess I'll eat them if I have to. But notice there's not a whole lot of bug pressure on here this year, and that's encouraging. Growing right here in my block, I have some sort of volunteer plant, and I think that might be, I don't even know what that is. I think it might be some kind of a flower that I grew last year in this area that was an ornamental. Ooh, we've got some morning glory coming up down here too. Need to get that out of there. I hate this stuff. Always weed as you go. So I don't know what that is. If you know what it is, let me know. If you have followed the plight of Samson, the daikon radish, well, I brought it to an end. Samson had not broken the brick. So he was getting unruly. The greenery was getting out of control. I couldn't walk through my path. So I made the decision to end Samson's life. I cut the radish down 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's all dry and hard now. But you can see he really filled up that hole and did not succeed in breaking the brick. Yeah, end of Samson. And there's some more morning glory we need to pull. Man, I hate that stuff. In my potted plants, here's another example of a not healthy pepper plant. Look how yellow that is. I've given it nitrogen, but it's stressed out. It's yellow, it's curling its leaves, it's trying to fruit. That is what a plant does when it senses its end is near. It tries to complete its life cycle. Not good. While right next to it, I have a relatively green pepper plant and a bunch of good parsley here. So that soil is at least fairly decent. My elderberry tree Got a good prune this year, looking good and healthy. Encouraging. I have another elderberry tree out front that is not looking as good, but you got to have 2 or 3 of these to get good pollination. So yeah, elderberry. Okay. Bed number 3, you can see we've got some zucchini down here, and it's looking good. We got some fruit coming in. That's encouraging. Over here I've got some spherical fruit coming in. Oh, there is a vine borer. Well, I said I didn't see the vine borer yet, but I just saw 2 vine borer moths laying eggs just like that. Can you see that? That's a vine borer egg, and we're going to kill it. Yeah, that's not what you want to see right there. That is not what we want to see. Vine borer egg. Alright, well the vine borers are here, so we're going to get 1 harvest. You can see the fruits down there. We'll probably be able to get 1, maybe 2 harvests before these plants are goners, because the vine borers are a serious threat around here. And I know I've got them in my soil because I've seen their pupa. Next to the squash, I've got some more peppers that are looking great. Nice and dark green. This is encouraging to see. That's awesome. These little squirts were tiny when I put them in, about that big. This is a Korean pepper, and these 2 plants are doing really well. This year I'm not having a lot of diversity in my garden because, well, I like peppers, I like tomatoes, I like squash. Grow the things I like this year, things that I know I'll eat. All right, I gotta confess. Look at this mess. I have a confession. See all this right here? This trellis and these strings? My goal was to repeat what I did last year with these Edox F1 cherry tomatoes. The goal was to string them up to a single string, prune them to a single vine, grow them tall like I did last year, and get the gigantic harvest that I got last year. The problem was life took over and I had things get in the way. Therefore, these guys did not get pruned up the vine. So, because I had some home renovations going on and a lot of things going on in life, I thought, you know, I'm not going to get to it. I'll just let them sprawl. And so here's what we can do. My neglect of these plants gives us an opportunity to compare what happens when you let an indeterminate tomato like this sprawl. We can see what kind of production we're going to. We've already got production going on. We've got tons of these trusses of tomatoes coming on. You can see there's one there. There's another truss there. There are tons of trusses down there. There's a truss there. They're everywhere. And I've eaten tomatoes off of these vines already. You can see down here. I think I spy some ripe ones. Yeah. I've already eaten off of this. But here's the question. Will these tomatoes produce as much as they did last year if I just let them sprawl? Yeah, change of plans. We're going to let them sprawl. So all this trellis is for naught. We're going to let them grow wild. Well, that'll give us a good comparison of the very, very intensive greenhouse method of vining these up a single vine, of letting these grow a single vine up a single string, and pruning them every week, as compared to letting them sprawl and grow in their natural growth habit. So, sorry to let you down. If you were looking forward to watching me prune these, you can go back and watch last year's video of how to prune these kinds of tomatoes up a single vine or up a single string. I will link the video here. Alright, enough of that. I've been eating strawberries. Look at this, I got strawberries coming in down here, and that one looks about ready. Man, don't you just love a strawberry? Wow. These strawberries were kind of afterthoughts this early spring. I bought them at the store, plugged them in here. They're doing great in this pot. Not doing so great in that soil over there. So probably need to fertilize. But they have been producing for me. But this is my best little strawberry pot. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy. Next door I put in a couple of peppers. You can tell obviously this soil is very well conditioned soil, because these are the same kind of peppers that I've been growing in those other pots where the soil was not so well. And that soil has been conditioned with some of the product I received from Mountain West and OrchidSupplyStore.com. So I've got a bell pepper here and a bell pepper here, already putting on fruit, and quite a bit of it actually. I'm impressed. That's encouraging. This is my Anna apple tree. and I have tied down some of the branches here to encourage them to grow more horizontally. If you have an apple tree, you want your branches, your main scaffold branches, to grow horizontally. That encourages more fruiting and less water sprouts and less vertical growth that doesn't fruit as much. So I've got them tied down like that, and through the season we will train those two main scaffolds to grow horizontally, and this one will train as well once it bulks out. Right now it's just a little squirt. So yeah, apple trees, we've got a lot of them back here, and they're doing well. Some of them are late, like this one, to emerge. Some of them are very late to emerge, like this one right here. This is my Fuji, but it did emerge. That's encouraging. And some of them are doing really well. This is my golden Dorset. In another video, if you're interested in apples, I showed you how we notched above the buds to encourage this branch to grow, that branch to grow, this branch to grow, and this one right here. And all the rest is kind of bonus growth we're going to let go until it's time to prune this up. We will bend these branches down to grow horizontally as well. We'll either put a spacer in there, or we will weigh them down or string them like we did our other tree. So we'll do this on all our apple trees. Peach tree's looking good. Going to grow a little peach tree right here. Not going to let it get very big, but we're certainly wanting it to grow out these main scaffolds. We want this one to be in the form of a goblet with an open center, so we've selected 4 branches. We didn't have the ideal branches to select from, so we're going to maybe have to train this branch a little over that way and this branch a little over that way. But right now we're just letting it get established. We want it to look like this. This is my plum tree, and my plum tree is looking quite nice. That's what we want. We want this open center like this. And like this guy right here probably have to come out. It's moving into the center, but we're going to let it grow, and we'll do a pruning in the summer. Summer pruning stunts the growth of trees. Dormant pruning encourages growth. I'll be doing an onion curing video in the coming days. Some of these onions, very many of them, are ready to harvest. They're laying down. That's how you know they're ready. The top leafy greens just flop over, and this becomes kind of loose and papery. Something like that. This is totally ready. So you have to cure these onions though, and I'll show you how to do that in an upcoming video. Not all of these are ready, but some are, so that's the time to get them out of the ground and start drying them. Man, my thornless blackberries are loaded. Look at that. I'm so happy about that. Tons of baby blackberries all in here. I mean, they're all over this bush. Incredible. I'm going to have so many this year, and that is a joy to my heart. Look at that. These are expected to grow as big as your thumb, but we'll see. This is only the first year of fruit for this. Last year when I planted this cane, it was a tiny little guy, about that big, and this is the variety called Caddo, C-A-D-D-O. It's an Arkansas, one of the Arkansas trials that are so popular now. And I'm just happy about that. Look at it, man. Gonna be eating some blackberries like crazy. I have more blackberries back by my air conditioner. That's why you're hearing it in the background. But I trimmed these back quite a bit. Blackberries produced on second-year growth, and is what I understand. And look at that. We've got some good growth here. I cut these back. They were 15 feet long last year. Got another one right here, and it's growing just fine. I need to come in here and mulch this area to try to suppress weeds, but these blackberries make me happy. Well, I thought it wasn't going to happen, but Lucy the lemon tree is going to give us some lemons this year. Clearly not as many as in the past when we got hundreds and hundreds of lemons off this tree, but the freeze knocked her back. She came back from above the graft union, and some leaves are decimated by leaf miners. Some leaves are perfectly fresh and new. That's the way it is with citrus around here. The leaf miners make a tree look ugly, but believe me, they will still produce. I'm just encouraged that Lucy came back. Yeah, awesome. Gonna have some fruit this year. A lot of it. Well, there we go. A mid-spring garden update. Lots of things going on. Very few things have turned south yet, but we always in the garden expect things to turn south. We expect drought, insect pressure, bugs, pestilence, disease, all that. It's going to show up. Like I said, I just saw the vine borers and I expected them. So that's why we plant our squash early. But that means that squash will be coming out in less than a month. We'll get a harvest off of it and the vine borers will decimate it. We'll be able to plant something new there. So we've got a couple of areas then with squash. Now we need to think about what will grow there as a summer crop. The peppers will last all year long. So I've got a little area down there at the back and a little area over here in the back of that bed that I can grow a summer crop. I'm thinking eggplant, maybe okra. Yeah, that'll be good. Hey, if you'd like to know what to grow in Zone 9A on the Texas coast, follow my channel and I'll show you how I do it. I don't always do it right, but I always have something to show for it. And I'd like you to enjoy our garden. So thanks for joining me today. It's been a good garden tour. Well, there's what's going on in my garden. I hope your garden's doing well as well. Thank you for joining me today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening when we do our monthly garden tour. I hope that you will join us in our community here. Leave a comment down below and participate. Like us and subscribe and share our videos. That's really helpful. Talk to you next time. Happy gardening. Bye-bye.